And again, you know, so originally it was going to be a picture book, so I suppose that was always going to be a big part of it. But yeah, I think I always felt it couldn't just be, you know, classic biography, 2 picture sections and just sort of do it that way. But if we have the opportunity, we just got to use everything we have, because it's just, you know, you're not going to get another chance, I suppose, to do that. So, and so we used, you know, a lot of the contemporary photos as well. But it just would have been, I think, such a terrible shame to have just sort of concentrated on that really, and not included all these other great eras and moments and images and stories.
So at the moment you're playing gigs and you do some recording as well, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going to start. Finally, I'm going to quite soon. I'm going to make an album with Roger Daltrey, which was an idea that came up a couple of years ago. Actually, I bumped into Roger, and we were talking something. Roger went, "Oh, we got to make an album together," and this was on the cards for one. It just all got swept away, and then of course this was all BC, and C happening. Roger suddenly sprang forward and said, "Right, I'll do anything you say. I've got to do something. Right, I've got him by the short and curly. I've got a moral blackmail. You know, come on, man, you can't procrastinate any longer. Right, we got to get it done." And so we're gonna embark on that next week or quite soon.
And these
next week. Yeah,
so have you written new songs or these covers or something?
I think there's going to be versions of stuff from back then.
Have you written? Do you still write a lot of songs?
Actually, in this initial euphoria I had on this cancer diagnosis, and another thing that happened was I started writing songs. And I wrote quite a few songs earlier this year, which I also want with my band to, I hope, you know, we got time, we're going to do one final album, and we'll be using those songs. If we'll use any for the Roger Daltrey thing, I don't know. It's going to happen as it happens, so, you know, we haven't planned anything yet.
Because like we talked before about, you wrote a lot of songs in the Feel Goods period, but you don't write that many since then. Was that kind of reaction to the Feel Goods period, or was it? Or did you prefer just being like just a live band more than a recording band?
I mean, in the live sets we do, I play all my songs, original songs, and
it's not.
I suppose maybe a third of them are from Dr. Feelgood days, but I've written more songs since then, but I just ain't been so famous since then.
But just in the Feel Goods as a splurge of stuff in it, there was just...
In the initial rush of it all happening, I'd started writing songs, and also then I had the thing like writing songs then, I could write songs and I would have Lee Brillo's voice in my head, you know, and they're really written for him. And all different feelings. And I think I've got some quite good songs, but whether they'll see the light of day, can songs see the light of day? We don't know. But my metaphor is inept.
So did you make up with Lee before the end?
We never spoke again. Well, I think maybe once or twice we actually came face to face, and it was just like looking at his shoes. You're going, "You're right then?" You're going, "Yeah, I'm all right." So we never really. We parted company, and I walked away from Dr. Feelgood thing. It was obviously the greatest thing that happened in my life, and I didn't want to remember it with any bitterness or anything like that. So I just thought, well, I've got to leave it. I've got to walk away and find my own way. They threw me out. I didn't leave.
So do you have any regrets about not making back up with Lee at all?
Well, obviously it's a shame, because I mean, if you ask me now, why did that argument happen, and why did it all explode like that? I really couldn't say what the problem was. But I just know it got to the state where Lee and we were getting on each other's tits and couldn't stand each other, and it just seems so silly now.
Yeah. You always wonder why bands just don't take a year off, but it's hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I mean, there were a couple of occasions when I could have gone back, and but the opportunities went by in the sort of year or so subsequent to the bust up. But it just didn't happen. I'm not saying, I mean, that's my life. It just, you know.
What is that sort of management, as management?
Yeah.
Is it like?
Well, I just remember things like one day a friend of mine, I was up in town and a friend of mine came, he said, "Yeah, guess who I've been talking to?" I said, "What's that?" He says, "Lee Brillo. I've just been talking to Lee Brillo." He said, and I was talking to him and he was talking to me and he was hinting this and hinting that, and he said, I said to him, "What about, should I get Wilko along to, you know, we can have a meeting?" And he'd arranged that we would meet in this ship in Wardour Street the next day. And he said, "I think, you know," and things weren't going too well with me then, and I was thinking, "Well, yeah, maybe." And then, well, that evening I met this girl, and I was in no shape the next day to go on the meeting.
And, you know, that sense, if there is a sense of regret, does that affect now your relationship to people as well? Now you're in the similar position that he was at the end of his life. Is there a sort of sense of timing up, or does it not matter?
I think that I don't. No, I don't. You know, I don't indulge in regrets.
Yeah, just keep going forward.
Yeah, it'd be too late to do anything about anything now.
Okay, so is there any questions from the floor? Wow, Wilko, you just stumped everybody to silence. Sorry, over there.
Your early...
Mic's coming, the microphone's coming.
No, right, okay. Hi, Wilko. Did your early psychedelic experiences, if you don't mind me sort of focusing on that, does that help you with what seems to be a very sort of transcendent attitude to, you know, mortality, if you like?
I really don't know. I mean, I was a real acid head in the 60s. I love that stuff. But I think it kind of fitted in with the way I was. I mean, I don't think it shaped me in any way. But a long time.
Can I extend the question? Because I'm quite interested in, like, we talked about this whole year zero thing that happened with, like, punk and, you know, punk rock and, you know, turning back on the hippie thing. I'm interested in the connection between the two. The fact that it was obvious in, say, The Future Is Unwritten that Strummer was influenced by his psychedelic experiences and the Clash and all that, and the kind of imagery around the Clash. You wouldn't necessarily think about that. And I just wondered if that kind of raw, elemental sound was partly connected to that with you as well, if that was part of the kind of psychedelic thing that was part of you, if you like.
I don't know. I mean, music was always a thing to me that was apart from my general experience. I mean, for instance, I'm a person. I love literature. I read a lot. I took a degree in English. Love Shakespeare and so on. But to me, that's life. When you walk on stage and start to play, and suddenly you are reduced to this thing. Your whole kind of, all of the everyday things and everything are just gone. And I don't think Hamlet intrudes very much in the 12-bar blues.
But was there ever attempts to add those kind of inflections or change your music, or was that just a music that just really connects to you, or do you just keep it really simple deliberately? I mean, beautifully simple.
It's just always, that's just what I do. I keep it simple. That, I mean, for instance, I've just been Norman Watt-Roy, my brilliant bass player, has just been doing a solo tour. And Norman was very, and he's got some absolutely superb jazz musicians working with him. And he was so nervous before he did this tour, like earlier this month. I said to him, I'll come along and play on the first couple of gigs just to hold your hand, you know. And so it ended up with, I get up towards the end of the show and bang out a couple of my songs, you know. But the thing was, I couldn't have joined in with the band because I'm just technically, I'm you know, they're playing, you know, augmented chords and God knows what, you know. I can't do that. I mean, what I do is, I'm quite good at what I do, but it's a very simple thing because the music I do is simple.
But then could they actually play with you the way around?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it's easy for them to
yeah, but we've got to get it right.
Yeah. I mean, they're good. They're very fine musicians. Well, like Norman himself is he's a brilliant bass player, and he can play jazz and all sorts, you know. But it's just great playing with him. When he's playing with me, he's a feeling musician, you know. It's feeling, and same with the guys he's working with. They're great.
So if you could play, if you spent like a lot of time and learned really technically complicated stuff, would your style change? I mean, do you play within your limitations, or do you actually just like that sound?
My limitations determine what I do. I mean, I never practice or anything like that. I mean, my guitar, I'll play my guitar, I'll take it out of the case and go on stage with it, and then bang, it goes back in the case, and it don't come out again until I do another gig. So, I mean, I've never progressed beyond what I've learned to do by the time I was 18.
Well, you can refine it to an art, which is...
Yeah, no, thank you.
It's true, isn't it? It's just interesting what Mark's asking there, because most people, when they got to psychedelic thing, the music kind of went all psychedelic, and yours just doesn't. So not even something made really simple psychedelic records, with very simple chords, but made them sound trippy. But yours music was completely opposite of that. So
yeah.
So where did your psychedelic experience go then? You just
like I say, you know, with my music, everything reduces down to it's that beat and that simple thing. That's what I do. I don't try and. What turned me on when I was a teenager was just that simple, exciting beat music, and it still does it for me, and that's what I do, what I want to do. Yeah.
I feel like the psychedelic experiences went more into the paintings than the music, I think. Would that be fair to say?
Huh?
The psychedelic experiences you had went more into the paintings and the artwork that you were doing?
Yeah, I dabbled with painting. I mean, in fact, I was very serious about painting, and you can see some examples of my work in this book. I did to the point when it became obvious. I remember when I got back from India, I seriously thought, right, I want to. I decided I want to paint because I had, and this does connect with the psychedelic business. That I had all this imagery in my head that I wanted to set down, and I realised that, I mean, I hadn't been to art college or anything, but that I needed to have a good technique as a painter, and I thought, well, this is going to take me 5 or 6 years of hard work to get technically good enough to set down the images that I have in mind. The images are still there, actually, but and anyway, so I set about doing this, and then the band would start. When it came to a point where the band was obviously going to go places, and I'm thinking, right, I'm going to have to make a decision here, because either I go for this rock and roll thing that seems to be starting up, and I can't do both, and or I'll continue struggling with my painting. I think, well, so what am I going to do? Am I going to starve in a garret for my art for the next few years, or am I going to ride in a Cadillac and get all the girls? It wasn't a difficult decision.
Okay, any more questions?
That's it.
Are you going to keep touring, Wilko?
Huh?
Are you going to keep touring? Keep playing?
As I said, I'm now living on borrowed time. I have got, so normally when you organise a tour, you have to do it some months in advance. Well, obviously that's not feasible now. So any gigs I do, things that can have to be done at short notice. I've got a couple of gigs booked for the next month, and I'll do them. It's just a matter of doing it step by step now. As long as I'm fit, I'll carry on. But it just has to be one day at a time, kind of thing. Yeah.
The microphone.
How did it feel to decapitate Sean Bean?
Sorry?
How did it feel to decapitate Sean Bean?
Yeah, Captain, sure.
Oh, that. That was, I don't know. I think I got this gig as a kind of spin-off from the Oil City film, and I was asked to would I audition for this part when went up to London to this audition, and I went, what's this thing called? And they said Game of Thrones, and they told me it was a kind of fantasy thing for American television. And I thought, wow, it's going to be something like Xena, the Princess Warrior. And I thought, yeah, I'd like to do that. At least I'll get a leather jacket out of it or something. And I got there, and in fact, I was the only candidate at the audition. I think there was just a bloke in a room with a video camera. And then I found out that the character they wanted me to play had no tongue, and so there were no lines to learn or anything like that. And he sort of run through it, he's filming with the video camera, and he's saying, the character playing a very evil guy, and he's saying, listen, and he was running through this scene, and he's just filming, saying, so all I did was, I'm looking at him, I'm gonna fucking have you. And he was just a great part. That's all I had to do. It was tremendous fun. It was really the only acting I've done, and it was absolutely great. And I mean, all the proper actors and everything were just so nice and helpful, and it was a very, very happy experience. I'm only sorry I couldn't make it through to the third series.
You didn't have to learn any lines, which is... You didn't have to learn any lines either.
No, that was just great, you know.
Okay, one more question. Two, we take both. Yeah.
How come
my phone,
songs on Malpractice? Hi Wilko.
Hi.
I just wanted to know, one of my favourite songs that you were involved in was off the Malpractice album, Because You're Mine. How was it that Nick Lowe came to write that with you?
Well, actually, that was what happened. We'd done the whole album. There was a deadline coming up and everything, and there was just that song. They just had the back end of the track, and I was racking my. I couldn't think of anything, and it was the deadline was getting closer. So we wheeled Nick Lowe in to try, and he wrote a song actually which was crap. and then at the last minute I did the lyrics anyway, so it wasn't really a collaboration. I just gave him a credit because he had offered to help.
Great, Jonas. And then microphone over here.
Hi. Just going back to where you started, so last January and the cancer. Have you been back to your consultant, and has he given the view as to how the 10 months has been and gone, and you're looking so fit?
No, I haven't been back at all. Now I've kind of passed the deadline, if I'm not using the expression. I sort of thought, should I go back in the hospital and ask for another estimate? But I thought, you know, they didn't get that right, but. I don't know. I just have an indefinite future now. The only I've had one contact with the Macmillan cancer nurses, and a guy came around who was, I've got to say, brilliant. Just talking to this guy, and but I'm coping pretty well. And I've been in very good spirits this year. And in fact, I called this guy because I did have a bad night, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I mean, whole kind of horror of it. Like, oh my God, you know, I felt so bad and freaked out. I couldn't even speak. Right? And I couldn't even say, I can't speak. And I thought, well, I had to get something for this. And I went to the doctor the next day, and she was hopeless. She started, I was saying, listen, I was really freaked out last night. You know, like, it doesn't normally happen, but, you know, can you give me something to, but when this happens, you know, I was hoping for something a bit nice. And she starts going, well, are you depressed? I go, no, I'm not depressed. And she made me fill in this form going, do you want to commit suicide? and then saying to me, asking me, did I want counselling? Man, I've actually got a few months to live. What's a bloody counsellor going to come and counsel away the fear of death? You know, like, and so they're a bit disappointed with them. But then the next day, called up the Macmillan cancer nurses, and this guy came round who was just great, talked to me and wrote me out a nice prescription. And but that's the only so far. I mean, I'm a complete wimp when it comes to sickness. Like, you know, man flu is about as far as I can go. You know, and I start whimpering and whining. You know, so what is it going to be like when the illness actually kicks in? I don't know. But right now, I'm still feeling okay.
Okay, so the book. Yeah, there's no copies here, but you can order the book off the Waterstones table, which is at the back. Yeah, so at the back corner there. So if you want the book, and it's a great book, just make an order. It'll get posted, you get delivered to you. So thanks very much to Zoe Howe, and thanks to Wilko.